Hey guys, Micah from blackbearcustomkydex. Let me get out in front of it right now in case there's some white noise in the background. I've got a box fan running. It's just miserably hot in my garage and I have to have that thing going all the time. And we finally have a little bit of a cool day outside, so I'm just taking advantage, and I've got the fan blasting some cool air in from the window. So, all right, getting into the sheath here, we obviously are looking at an ESEE piggyback setup. So what do we have for knives? We've got the ESEE6 and the ESEE Izula 2. Both of them have the factory micarta scales on it, and this is no regular piggyback system. This is a breakaway piggyback. So when we talk about piggyback setups, there are two types of them. I mean, there's more than two, but there's two general categories under which all piggyback systems will fall, at least when they come from me. You have fixed piggybacks and you have breakaway piggybacks. A fixed piggyback is a semi-permanent connection between the two sheets. What I mean by semi-permanent is that they're held together by these Chicago screws, and it's not something that can't be undone. You can easily grab a Phillips head screwdriver, pop those screws out, and then everything separates. So I say semi-permanent because it's meant to stay together, but it can be separated. You require a tool to do that separation. A breakaway piggyback, which is what you're looking at here, this is just one of many types of breakaway piggybacks, but the idea is that the two sheaths can be quickly separated without the use of any tools, and the goal is to allow the user to carry the knives independent of one another at a moment's notice. Why would you want something like that? There are a couple good reasons. There are probably more reasons than I'm going to list here, but let me go ahead and just give you the two main selling points of the idea. First and foremost, you may want to save some money in the long run. Maybe you don't want to buy a bunch of knives. Maybe you want to own like 2 or 3 knives. Those are your go-tos. You use them every day. You carry something every day. So you bought an ESEE6 and you bought an ESEE Izula 2, for example. The Izula 2 is an excellent EDC companion type knife. This is a great blade to carry on your person at all times. It can do so many daily tasks. It can do so many things also out in the woods and in bushcraft and campsite type tasks. This is a phenomenal knife. I absolutely love it. And for like, what do these things go for now? Like $75 if you buy it with the handle scales. You can get them skeletonized or paracord wrapped, whatever. But with the handle, you're looking at like 75 to 80 bucks probably. It's just a banging deal. So I highly recommend this knife to anybody, absolutely anybody. I love it. Right. But then you want to do some batoning, you want to do some bigger tasks, you're going to need something a little more substantial. That's where the 6 comes in. So you've got two very capable knives, and together as a package, they can do a lot. So the selling point of the breakaway piggyback idea is, well, you have these two together for when you go hiking, camping, bushcrafting, just rummaging around in the forest, whatever you're doing. And it's nice to be able to kind of set up and do most things that you're going to need a blade for between these two knives. Whereas the Izula 2 would be something that you want to separate off quickly, and it's just something you can carry every day. Can you do that with a fixed piggyback? You can, but there are some stipulations. Number one, you have to manually separate and manually join these every time you want to have them together or apart. And then if they are apart, you need to then manually install some kind of carry setup. So if you want fixed piggybacks, but you want a separate carry system for your small knife, let me know. I'm happy to build that for you. But if you want to save money, get the best bang for your buck, what you want to do is go with a breakaway system like this. And you basically just tell me what carry setup you want installed on the small knife and leave it to me to figure out what the best way is to join the two. So it involves building custom adapters like this thing here with the cutout here in the middle. That's basically all it is. All right, so let's get into some of the other details real quick. So we have black and flat dark earth fall. There is a spring as well, but I don't like the colors much. So when people ask for FDE, fall is my default unless they explicitly request spring. This is an UltiClip. It is optimal for carrying inside the waistband or inside the pocket. And if you're going to go inside the waistband, you want to attach to your fabric. Do not attach this to a belt. There is a specific UltiClip that's designed to work on a belt, but this is not that. The reason why going on a belt is a bad idea is because this is just spring steel, and it's kind of like a cam lever. And if you put too much stress on that cam lever, you start to compress. See that J hook there? You'll start to pinch that more and more. And then this gets less and less squeeze out of it. And then eventually the J is just going to let go of your fabric, and it's no longer going to create that really solid anchor point. Right now, this is a super strong connection. The reason it works so well is because you can put it on your fabric, and then you can just grab this, and as soon as the fabric resists the flex, boom, you'll have your draw. So there you go, the UltiClip. Do not put it on a belt. Do not carry it outside the pants, outside the waistband, whatever. You want this in the pocket or in the waistband. It is an awesome carry setup. One thing I will address, UltiClips are prone to rusting, so you might want to just wipe it down every now and then with a little bit of oil. I recommend, anything from 3-in-1 to WD-40. Even cooking oils will work to help inhibit rust temporarily. And if you want to go like real crazy on it, then maybe spray it down with like a clear coat of Rust-Oleum or something like that. But that's an option. For the 6, for the overall system, we have a dangler. This is a nylon dangler. We've got pull-the-dot snaps in it, so you can pop it open like so. Close it by rolling the opposite direction. What I'm talking about is you have to lift it from the tip to open this. You cannot open it with well, you can after a certain point, but it resists opening from the inside, from pressure pulling up this way. It has to pull up from the tip, and it has to roll toward the tip to close it. So there you go. I put the logo plates on there. These add a little bit of stiffness to it. They also look really nice, and it is a long dangler as far as they go, but my customer asked me to have the handle ride roughly 2/3 the way up the dangler, so that's what you're looking at here. Sorry, I paused it for a real deep yawn I just had. You'll also notice that the dangler tab has a lot of eyelets. There's 5 there, and there are 5 on the adapter plate for the dangler. Why? The reason is because where it is such a low riding carry, I thought it'd be nice to allow a little bit of adjustment in both directions so that my customer can do whatever it is he wants to do with it when he wants to do it. If you need to adjust the length here, it's a little bit, it can be a little tedious, but what I would recommend is leave these 4 screws in, just undo these 2, and you'll notice those 2 female threaded posts on the back can drop freely. They might not have the clearance to drop and then move because the stems might still be inside these eyelets. So if that's the case, you can kind of pry it upward just a little bit and use some kind of tool, the handle of a spoon or a toothpick or whatever, and you can kind of move it over to get it aligned with the eyelet that you want, and just turn it over, let it drop down, set it up again. It's pretty easy to do. Now this plate here, this is something that a lot of people, I think, do incorrectly. And I don't want to troll anybody. I don't want to say don't buy their stuff or anything like that. So I'm not going to mention names. Pretty much pick any Kydex maker out there. Almost everybody does it. And I think it's a bad idea. I'm going to talk through real quick why you want multiple points, not only for attachment, but between the far end and the near end of the plate. So you have, if you were just to have these 2 screws in or just these 2 screws, you would effectively have a fulcrum, and this would become some kind of lever, torque bar, seesaw, what have you, where it's very flimsy. It feels like it flexes and it rolls on that point of contact. Whereas this plate, 2 layers thick, by the way, that's also of importance. This plate has those 2 points on each end of it here, and because of that, when you go to flex this, it first resists this one and then this one, and there's pressure from both sides of it because of the compression on those rubber washers. So with that, yes, you can still flex this, but it's a lot harder to do it. It's pretty stable. This does not want to move much at all. It feels very, very solid. So this is the kind of style of plate that I like to add on there. And then finally, let's talk about this adapter for the Breakaway. This is just something I started doing a while ago for when people want their Breakaways to be UltiClip carry. And the idea is you have to slot the spine of your sheath into the little pocket up top, and you need to slot the edge of your sheath in between the two layers. So it's a little hard to get that first alignment. Once you've got it, you literally just push forward until it kind of locks out. The two rubber washers will find their natural stopping points and you're good to go. This is superior to previous iterations that I had done because it allows the UltiClip plate to be completely untouched by the breakaway adapter. So it moves freely, and it's just a really nice setup. Plus, just kind of as a selfish thing, it's aesthetically pleasing to have that contrasting color on there. So there we go. Now, Logan, when you go to draw the Izula off of the setup that it's on here, you can do what's called a grip and rip, like just grab it and pull it out, or I would recommend using the thumb ramp. So you get a good purchase with your 4 fingers below, use a little bit of your palm there, and then just kind of push off with the thumb. It's a lot more comfortable and much more controlled. Same thing goes for the 6. You can do your grip and rips, but I would recommend doing a thumb push draw. Now, when you go to remove the Izula sheath from the 6 sheath, you do not want to be holding on to the handle. The reason why is because the retention that the adapter has on the sheath is much greater than the retention that the sheath has on the knife. So you need to grab it. I recommend by the bottom of the plate and by the top of the spine, maybe even like the bottom of the handle just barely, but you're not going to pull the knife out that way. You can see that I'm getting a very controlled movement there. And once you have enough room to get your fingers in, I recommend going all the way around the back of the sheath too, and just gives you that control. So it's a much, much more safe way to draw that out. You do not want to be tugging on that handle, especially if you're bracing the sheath with your other hand, which you probably need to be, but yeah, so just grab the sheath itself, and once you've reached a little bit of space there, go right in, secure it, and control it. And that's how you want to do this. So, all right, guys, well, honestly, I think that's it. This is a pretty simple build, but honestly, I really love this. I think it's a very nice looking system. This is one of my favorite builds in recent memory. And I love these colors. I think these are very underrated. Nobody anymore seems to be ordering the black and tan theme, which is one of my all-time favorite color combos. So I was very pleased when Logan asked for that. So, all right, guys, that's what I've got. If you have stuck it out for this whole video, thank you for sticking it out. We're almost at 13 minutes of my rambling. I know that's it can be a little bit much. So I appreciate your attention, and I hope you enjoyed this. Did I say I was going to tell you guys how I made the breakaway adapter? I almost think I did. Real quick, super simple. So you first form your sheath for the Izula, right? Now, before you mark out your eyelets, before you cut the shape, anything, and while the knife is still in the Kydex, do not remove the knife, do not mark holes, do not drill, do not cut. You just have your folded shell over your knife. Go ahead and heat up another piece of Kydex, and when it's ready, put it in the press by wrapping it around basically everything except the handle area of your sheath. Press it like that, and when it's done, it'll form with a natural gap that perfectly fits the thickness of your sheath. Once it's done, you're going to have to do some figuring to find out, like, well, how big can you cut your sheath, and where do the attachment points need to be between the adapter and the larger sheath. That's all a little bit of calculus that you need to do after this, but ultimately what it renders for you is this kind of like perfect nesting part that can go in there. And adding eyelets, of course, is going to interfere with that. So if you notice, the only eyelet that I have on the Izula that actually goes into any part, because I cut stuff away, the only part of it is the very last eyelet. This eyelet on the Izula sheath itself, not on the Molly plate or the UltiClip plate. So that's essentially how I do these. And you just kind of have to get a feel for where to cut, how deep to make those cuts, what shape to put it in. All that stuff is very much customizable and specific to the iteration that you're building. So, all right, guys, well, that is all I've got. Let me know what you think of this build. I really love it, like I said. And of course, if you did, I'd love you to hit that like button down below. I'd love to see some comments, some feedback. Let me know how you like this video, how you like this sheath. Let me know anything else. What kind of other knives would you like to see in this kind of breakaway piggyback configuration? What other breakaway type configurations would you like to see? And of course, if you really enjoyed my content, I hope you'll subscribe. Hit that bell to receive notifications, comment down below, share it out to all your friends, and stick around for the next video, guys. God bless.